Hello, my name is Melanie Martinez. Today I will be talking about phase 3 and 4 of the final project for my IDET class. And so let's begin. So I have little notes on the sides that I will be going back and forth. So for t-test domain, I use domain 1.4, which means the teacher plans engaging flexible lessons that encourage higher order thinking, persistence, and achievement. For the ISTE standard, I use designer, which means educators design authentic learner driven activities and environments that recognize and accommodate learner variability. For the virtual instructional strategy, I use connected dots, which comes from extending thinking, which means engage the students in thinking about a topic in multiple ways and justifying the answers. For the tics, I use 3B, use context within and beyond a sentence to determine the relevant meaning of unfamiliar words for multiple meaning words. Instructional delivery will include Lumio, Nearpod, Google Classroom, PowerPoint slides, and Loom just for screen recording purposes. For engagement, I will use lesson quizzes, Kahoots, or just one Kahoot game, and chart activities, which is the main activity for my lesson plan. And lastly, for the assessment, I will use the same Kahoot, but also an exit ticket that they will have to fill out and finish um, to be able to completely finish the lesson. So if we move on to Nearpod, I have my lesson plan right here. It's context clues. This is for fifth grade, so it's a little bit of like visuals, but it's also more words for them to read and analyze. So we're going to start with what are context clues. This question is very basic, but it is important to start with this question so that the students are able to think back on whatever they know and remember the stuff that they've been taught before. If this is just a reteach or if it's just, the lesson is a reteach. So this will include the definition for context clues, but also an example, which would be a sentence, and it will have, the bolded word, the tricky word, and it will have two words that will help them identify the meaning of the one bolded word. It can be two or more, but I'm using two for this sake. But I will ask him stuff like, "What is a tricky word? What clues did you find? And what is the meaning?" And obviously, it's going to include a little visual. And then we'll have a class activity. So we have context clues. This is a worksheet that they will trim, and they will not really a worksheet. I'm sorry. This is just a regular informational sheet that they will trim and glue to their journals, to their reading journals, so that they can refer to whenever they are doing context clues assignments and they might need a little refresher. So then we have the examples. This is the main activity of the lesson plan. This will be 5 charts, and each chart will have 2 sentences that they will have to figure out the tricky word, the clues, and then the meaning of the tricky word. And so each table, which will be there's 5 tables of 4 students, and each table is going to get assigned to one chart, and then we'll be passing it around. But they will have to write down their answers, what they think it is, and they can do this as a group. This is a group work, and eventually at the end we'll talk about it and we'll compare answers. So then we have the Nearpod offers really good resources. One of the resources is the option to include quizzes that Nearpod has made and or helped with, and we can put those in here and just kind of just kind of you know have them play and utilize it for them to just like a fun method of revisiting what has been learned from the content. And so they will get questions like, what are context clues? And they put in their code, they put in a name, they start the game, and then I will get the results directly. And lastly, we have the exit ticket. So the exit ticket is just going to have one question, and they will read a sentence and tell me what the tricky word is. But they will also have to identify which words help them figure out the meaning of this, um, question. So then we move on to context clues. This Kahoot is going to have sentences that they have to read. They'll obviously be given time to read it, and then they have to figure out what it means. And the answer choices will be, will contain the actual meaning of the words, and they just kind of have to rely on visuals, but also on the sentence itself, context clues to figure out the answers. This is also an assessment, and it comes before the exit ticket, but this is to let me know what they have learned. Um, so we go back to this the last slide, author credits. Again, my name is Melanie Martinez. I am expected to graduate in the fall of 2025. For project credits, I stated that this work is part of the IDET coursework, but also it's a context clues lesson plan for fifth grade classroom. Thank you.